First of all, a warm welcome to all the participants, and thanks for giving your valuable time to us to hear us out. Markets, it's been, I think, the fourth month for the Nifty index. Four straightforward gains, from the last 4 months. I think on an average, 500, 600 points month on month basis is the kinds of gains which the Nifty has been registering. Now, if you look at the scenarios which the Nifty has dealt, we had scenarios of geopolitical tensions, the crisis in the Middle East. We also had a time where India was at war with our neighbors, Pakistan, and there was also a time when there was some instability geopolitically regarding the tariff structure, which did have an impact on the market. But if you look at how resilient the Indian markets have been, we have stood out across all the different kinds of resistance which hit the markets in the last 3 months. And last 4 series, the markets have come out very strongly. And today we are trading above the levels of 25,000 as it goes, 25,400, 450 odd levels where we close today. तो 715 पॉइंट का गेन इन द मंथ ऑफ जून जो हमने देखा, वन मोर मंथ वेयर मार्केट्स रजिस्टर्ड सिग्निफिकेंट गेन्स. और अगर आप पूरा जियोपॉलिटिकल सिनेरियो को स्टडी करें और इसको वोलेटिलिटी इंडेक्स के साथ कंपेयर करें, विच इज द इंडिया वोलेटिलिटी इंडेक्स, वी आर एट द बॉटम ऑफ अराउंड 13.5. सो ऑप्शन प्रीमियम्स आर ऑलरेडी चीप. इसका मतलब, और अगर आप देखें तो स्टेबिलिटी इज बैक इन द सिस्टम. जो प्रेशर था, जो वोलेटिलिटी एक्सपेक्टेड था मार्केट में, पीपल, द फियर एंड द नर्वसनेस एंटायरली इन द सिस्टम इज आउट एज आई सी राइट नाउ. और ऑप्शंस प्रीमियम जब इतना चीप ट्रेड हो रहे, क्लियरली उसका मतलब है कि द ऑप्शन राइटर्स आर स्ट्रांगली बैक इन द गेम. अगर आप रोलओवर्स भी देखेंगे, रोलओवर्स इज व्हेन द पोजीशंस ऑफ 1 month are taken over to the second month. So what we do in derivatives is that every month as the series expire, we look at how the positions in the derivatives, futures and options space are carried over to the next series. And if you look at the rollovers for the month of July, 79% of long bets from the month of June have been carried forward to the next month. So the rollovers we are assuming is on the positive side compared to its historical 3-month average readings of 78%. So there is one more positive tick off that long bets continue to be there in the system. Now, if you go by the seasonality pattern for the Nifty for the July month, I think out of the last 10 years, July month has been a positive month for the index in the last 8 out of 10 years. So that's another sentimental positive which you see for the month of July. Now, July month in terms of the number of trading days is a long expiry month. 31st July is where your expiry is. So when you are devising any kind of strategies which is based in the option segment, this factor holds key relevance, that this is a long series in terms of number of trading days. तो जब भी आप कोई भी strategy बनाएंगे तो आपका time value का जो premium घटता है, it is not going to be depreciating fast. This is a month where even the Q1 FY26 results will be out as we head into the second half of the July series. So a lot of action-packed month as we step further. Tariffs के भी शायद, I think on 9th of this month you have again another important announcement coming in there, which the markets are keenly awaiting. So again we are assuming with a long number of trading sessions, although the markets might be volatile, our take is that again July will stabilize, and maybe you would not have that kind of bumper moves which you have seen in the last 3 months, but definitely this month is going to give you opportunities, maybe to slightly buy on dips if it does, but we are not falling for sure. At least that's what the data points have to say. Now, what is the roadmap for the month of the July series? If you look at the broader market outlook, I think from the lifetime highs of 26,200 and 250 zone, we are around 2 to 3% away. So almost there, you can say. all the negatives have been priced in. Markets are on a very strong front foot, and you may say that the parameters are a bit overstretched if you were to time it from a short-term perspective. But really, this is for a very short-term trader. If you have a slightly broader view on the market, I think we clearly had a breakout of the levels of 25,000, and that just puts the Nifty on a firm footing for the next target, which is near the all-time high levels of 26,200 to 250 zone. नाउ ऑप्शंस में डेटा कैसे प्लेस्ड है ये भी हम देखेंगे. तो 25,000 का जो पुट है फॉर द मंथली सीरीज, इवन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द वीकली सीरीज, सब में काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग ओपन इंटरेस्ट का एडिशंस है एट द स्ट्राइक ऑफ 25,000, विच वी आर एट्रीब्यूटिंग इट टू पुट राइटिंग एक्शन. इसका मतलब है कि जो पुट राइटर्स है उनका फर्म बिलीफ है कि 25,000 एक बहुत ही अहम सपोर्ट होगा फॉर द मंथ, फॉर द वीक्स, एंड इट इज नॉट इजी टू ब्रेक दिस सपोर्ट. दैट्स व्हाट द ओपन इंटरेस्ट हैज टू टेल यू अबाउट द वे दे आर पोजीशनड फॉर द वीकली एज वेल एज फॉर द मंथली जुलाई सीरीज. Now if you look for the call resistance areas, the monthly series has to say that 26,000 जो 26,000 है वहां पे काफी राइटिंग का प्रेशर है, जिसका मतलब है कि जो कॉल राइटर्स है दे आर डिफाइनिंग पॉसिबल टारगेट्स दैट निफ्टी माइट गो टिल 26,000. दैट इज द बेस्ट केस सिनेरियो पीपल आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू, एंड दैट इज व्हाई पीपल आर राइटिंग कॉल्स मे बी अगेंस्ट देयर पोर्टफोलियोज और अगेंस्ट देयर on an anticipation to that this can be the upside cap. So a lot of strategies go into this, but one thing is for sure that 26,000 is the target which the markets are gunning for in the month of July. Now this is the range which you have clearly: 25,000 support, 26,000 resistance, and we are going to now figure out as to how best we are going to time this range so that we maximize our profit potential, which I will take you through the next slides of my presentation. Also, Bank Nifty, which is normally considered as a leader or the direction maker, as I say, थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे अगर बैंक निफ्टी का चार्ट स्ट्रक्चर प्योरली ऑन बेसिस ऑफ चार्ट्स, लास्ट कपल ऑफ मंथ्स बैंक निफ्टी में स्ट्रेंथ दिखा था. इट इज अ स्ट्रॉन्ग इंडेक्स नो डाउट, बट कहीं ना कहीं जो प्राइस सेटअप दिखने को मिल रहा है फॉर द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई, एक इंडिकेशंस आ रहा है कि शायद जुलाई में बैंक निफ्टी शायद अपसाइड कैप रहे. 57,500, 5800, 8,000 ये उसका अपसाइड कैप बने बैंक निफ्टी का. तो ज्यादा तेजी की उम्मीद नहीं कर रहे फॉर द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई इन बैंक निफ्टी. टूटेगी नहीं बैंक निफ्टी, पर एक रेंज के दायरे में रह सकती है. द रेंज वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू इज 56,000 सपोर्ट एंड 58,000 रेजिस्टेंस. Now, again, when we talk about Nifty being positive, you have to be really specific on the sectors. क्योंकि अगर आप देखेंगे the way we have started off with the July series और sectors को देखेंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं पहले जो 3 महीने में हम एक फैक्टर देख रहे थे कि there was a sector rotation which was going on. Sector rotation means आज चल रहा है IT, कल 2 दिन के बाद IT में अच्छी तेजी के बाद सीमेंट सेक्टर में रैली आई, उसके बाद आपकी FMCG में आई. सो सेक्टर रोटेशन में ये जो खेल हो रहा था गए 2-3 महीने में, वो कहीं ना कहीं गए 10 दिन में थोड़ी सी उसमें कमी देखने को मिल रही है. द मोमेंटम इज स्लोली फीडिंग ऑफ, मार्केट ब्रेड्थ इज वीकनिंग. सो आई फील दैट फॉर द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई you have to be very sector specific, stock specific approach when you are dealing with the month of July, because we are not talking about any corrections. Again, I would repeat, it is just that when the markets are in the range, it's all about your skill set, about how you time the stocks, how you time the sectors, and you have to be spot on when you are timing sectors and stocks. So somewhere we believe, looking at the rollovers, looking at the way the momentum is catching up in individual stocks and sectors, Nifty Pharma and Nifty IT, these are the two sectors to look forward to. Now, pharma is one sector which has picked up in the last 5-6 trading sessions. If you are very keen on participating this sector, you should very actively follow our basket approach. If you recollect from the technical desk in our team, we have come out with a Nifty Pharma basket. So it is a combination of 4 to 5 stocks which have one of the best technical setups, which will offer you a good return from a short to medium term approach. We are talking about alpha, we are talking about beating the Nifty index, and I think the way some of the stocks are positioned in this pharma sector, be it Divi's Lab, Aurobindo Pharma, a Biocon, these are doing great. Glenmark Pharma, and the momentum is pretty strong. Majority of them have been beaten down. They are trying to make a recovery. Stocks like of Dr. Reddy or Aurobindo Pharma have been pretty beaten down. Lupin, they're all making a strong comeback. So from the current level, the risk reward, which ideally is the best way a trader approaches the market, जहाँ पे मेरा रिस्क कम है और मैं अगर सही पड़ जाऊं तो मेरा रिवॉर्ड 3x होगा of the risk I take. That kind of setup is what we are searching for, and I think pharma is one of the sectors which is offering you that kind of a trade setup at a given juncture. So keep a watch on the pharma. If you have confusion, then you can follow our trading calls, which we will come out time and again. If you want to take a basket, which is one of the best approaches to look forward with a buy and hold approach, our basket is already there. In case you have missed, you are not too late. You can still participate in this basket. IT is another sector we are looking forward to. अभी IT में देखेंगे तो जो की एलिमेंट है आईटी में वो है रिजल्ट्स. आई थिंक द रिजल्ट्स सीजन विल किक ऑफ फ्रॉम द सेकंड हाफ ऑफ द जुलाई मंथ, एंड द वे मोस्ट ऑफ द आईटी नेम्स हैव बीन प्लेस्ड ऑन द चार्ट्स, द वे द स्टोरी हैज टू बी सेड इन द डेरिवेटिव सेगमेंट, कहीं ना कहीं लॉट ऑफ स्टॉक्स हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग सेटअप. इन्फोसिस, TCS, which has been beaten down, Tech Mahindra, HCL Tech, these are the big boys, the IT names. Also, if you see the mid-cap IT names like a Coforge or a Persistent, these also have excellent technical setup. So IT per se as the entire sector, I think this is more of a momentum sector. So even if you look at the chart here, I think 8-10 trading sessions have been in the range. A range breakout is being attempted by the IT sector, and this is a momentum sector which you can time ahead of the results. I think this should do wonders from a momentum capturing perspective. So pharma and IT, these sectors is on our radar. Next, when we talk about the markets, we cannot ignore how the FIs are positioned, because they are the market makers, they drive the market. And really, if you look at the cash segment, I think just the numbers have to tell you a story. March, 2,000 crores of buying. April, 2,700 crores of buying. May, 11,000 crores of buying, and in June we have 7,500 crores of buying. So cash markets, the mid and the small cap space, which is one of the sweet spot of the market where a lot of retail traders draw comfort from. You can be rest assured, looking at this data, the strong SIP flows in this industry, that there is good flows which have been seen month on month. That is the story which the numbers have to tell. So cash market, well, they are seeing good amount of buying traction. And even in the F&O segment, here we actively track the long short ratio, means FIIs जो है लॉन्ग्स उनके कितने हैं ओपन इंटरेस्ट में और शॉर्ट पोजीशंस कितने उन्होंने बनाए. तो इवन इफ यू सी स्लाइटली नेगेटिव नंबर फॉर द मंथ ऑफ जून 121, जून में जो लॉन्ग शॉर्ट रेशियो था वो 20% लॉन्ग्स था कंपेयर टू 80%, पर कहीं ना कहीं जून मंथ वाज अ पॉजिटिव मंथ. सो क्लियरली एक जो इंटरेस्ट दिख पा रहा है मार्केट का वो मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप एरिया में. जो हेवी वेट्स है उनको इंडेक्स मैनेज करने के लिए कहीं ना कहीं यू हैव वन डे ICICI बैंक टेकिंग द लीड, HUL taking the lead, Reliance saving the day for the market. तो एक रोल अप्रोच से जो है इंडेक्स को कहीं ना कहीं बचाया जा रहा है, पर जो गेन्स आपको आज मिल रहे हैं, जो स्टेडी स्ट्रॉन्ग ग्रोथ मिल रहा है स्टॉक्स में, वो आपको मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप्स में दिखाई दे रहा है गए 2 से 3 महीने में. तो F&O में जो डेटा पॉइंट्स है, डोंट गेट नर्वस ऑन दिस. The long short ratio, which was 20% in the prior month, has now improved to 38%. So the 121 crore figure of June month is a very minuscule number. One thing which draws me comfort is that there is no major selling pressure as yet in F&O. So the trading interest somewhere is diverting to the mid and small case, but for the F&O stocks in the index futures especially, I think still it is in a sweet spot, and a stock specific approach will help you tide over the month of July for the F&O counters as well. Now, as I mentioned in my talk, that 38% is how the series has started in terms of the long short ratio. That is a very good start, because last month we had 20% and majority of the short bets were covered once we took a rollover to the month of July. So I think somewhere, FIIs are also slowly improving their participation in the future segment, and key levels to watch here will be 25,200 basis spot Nifty. This is more of a short term trading support. तो जब तक 25,200 बच रहा है, अगर आज if you see the intraday trades also, we recovered from levels of 25,200. So that's a good support. 24,800, that's the key benchmark or the pivotal support if you were to look for the entire month of July, there is very less probability that markets may drift below 25,000. But if you were to strictly follow the levels, आपका पहला caution या alert होगा whenever market breaks or sustains below 25,200. I doubt this is going to happen, but in case it does, be on the alert, because it's a market. We have to be flexible enough to be with the flow. So 25,200 is your first level, and for the entire trend to change its structure, 24,800 is what we will be looking at. Probability of breaking this support looks less, and moving up you have targets of 25,800 and next all-time high targets near 26,200. These two targets come into picture. Now, what are some of the key events you need to be worried about, or at least have it in your back of your mind, because news also has quite a weightage in the way the scheme of things are for the July month. It is the Q1 FY26 previews. So whenever you take any position in stocks, you have to see which is the date for its result. It shouldn't happen that you take a position and the results come out late, come out bad, and suddenly you are on the wrong foot of the stock. So please do check when the results are, and do not take any aggressive buy positions a day before the results. Global news and tariff updates will always keep the markets on its edge, but really I believe most of these news are already being digested, they are factored in, and really the volatility index of VIX, which we spoke about few minutes back, has a long story to tell. Ki abhi jo nervousness tha, that has calmed down, the nerves have soothed, and people look forward for a stability in the market for the month of July. और flows की बात हमने तो अभी पिछले स्लाइड में की, जहाँ पे the flows have been improving day and day, and I think they are going to improve as we move into the festival season, which starts from the August-September time onwards. Now, many people ask me that if you were to strategize this month using options, because many option traders have keen interest for developing strategies. So we always give you strategies in respect for how you align yourself for the month. What is the view for the month is what we discussed here. If you were to strategize this view using the options as a tool for creating a strategy, ratio put spread is the best kind of strategy which we look forward to. This strategy will also somewhere help you to hedge out any kind of slight negatives in case the market does confront in the month of July. So what is the strategy all about is that you are going to buy a month-end 25,000 put. Roughly today we closed around 130. One lot is what you buy. This is just an example. Lots is what you decide how much is your risk appetite. But the whole idea is one lot is what you buy and two lots is what you sell. So you're buying a 25,000 put one lot and you're selling two lots, which is a slightly lower strike, one strike lower at 24,900 at the premium of 111. So what happens is when you're selling two lots, you're getting an inflow of around 90 odd points. And trust me, this strategy is giving you a buffer all the way till 24,700. So the sweet spot in this strategy is in case you hit the levels of 24,700 or 800 by this month end. That's the sweet spot for the strategy, and that's the max profit point for the strategy, where a strategy can give you a potential benefit of a return of 7% on the possible investment you make, which is roughly around 1.5-2 lakh. That's the margin the strategy would command, and 14,000 is what you can make for. So you benefit in three scenarios in the strategy. One, if the markets move up, it rockets, you have nothing to worry about. Upside, no risk. If it is in a sideways phase, no risk. You are taking home that 90 points of premium which you have already collected. Only the worst situation is if we have a fall, a free waterfall kind of thing based on some news or the other, where the market would drift below 24,700. There is your break-even, there is where your losses start to mount, but then you need adjustments and you have a put buy along with two put sell. So one put extra sell is what the problem area can be, and we can easily manage this position and review it as time progresses. But I believe this is one of the best ways to approach the market for the month of July. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Happy trading for the month of July. If you are a directional trader, how you would position yourself is till 25,200 holds, be on the buy side, keep a stop loss of 25,150 if you're a short-term trader, and keep booking profits at 200, 300 points on the upside, because July month is not going to be a runaway month. There are going to be small blockages or blockades or resistance zones at 25,000, 500, 800, 26,000. So every 300 points you are going to encounter some sort of resistance. It's going to be a sideways market, and timing is the key for this month. Only if 24,800 breaches, we review the situation, which in all likelihood should not happen. So happy trading with JM Financial, and we open this forum for question and answer session.
Please explain the strategy to trade in options of ultra large cap stocks.
See, ultra large cap stocks are stocks like stocks having exposure to Nifty 50, right? So one good thing here is that you have good exposure of the stocks in the futures and options segment. So liquidity is not a concern for you, because many a times, mid and small cap might not have that ample liquidity where an entry and exit would be a question mark for you. So the best way to approach, when you talk about the large cap stocks, these are ideally the stocks which are in your portfolio, and these are stocks you don't want to give up. You want these stocks to be with you. You are buying those stocks not for the price gains, but from a long-term story, a story which you believe will unwind in the years to come, which should be a wealth maximizer for you. Here, primarily the objective why a person holds is to make money out of the corporate actions, dividend, bonus, stock splits. These are the various types of corporate actions which comes with owning the stock, and the benefits which you reap with long-term investing. Now, out of 12 months, there are times when not all months work in your favor. Out of 12 months, what a study suggests is that 6 to 7 months are those times when the stocks stays sideways or maybe corrects a bit. So this is the time where you want to try to maximize your return, because you don't want your stocks to lie idle. So what we suggest is you go for a covered call strategy in such stocks, where when the series begins, the stocks which you hold sell calls 8 to 10% away from the current market prices. So easily you can command a premium of 0.7 to 1% depending on how the IBs are positioned for stock, but ideally I would go for selling calls which are at least giving you 0.7 to 1%. So the objective of the strategy is to capture 0.7 to 1%. Only I can say it's more of a risk-free return, because if the stock runs, you have a backing of owning the stock in your portfolio. So in one sense, it's a risk-free return, and even if it stays sideways, falls, or even if it runs by 10%, still you are in a good spot, earning both in your portfolio as well as in the call position, sell positions. The only risk is that if the stock runs away by 10%, then somewhere you have to give up your delivery. But the probability of such possibilities are very less. So covered call strategy, selling calls at the beginning of the month against your holdings, is the best strategy, or the way which majority of the clients we attend to or the HNIs in the market follow to gain 1 to 1.5% risk-free returns every month. And on a cumulative basis, you can easily look forward for targets of around 12 to 15% on a yearly basis. And along with the stock gains which you get, this is one of the best strategies you can look forward to in the market.
What is open interest?
Well, for a starter, we always have a question when we talk about derivatives. This is the most spoken about word, open interest. So to keep it simple in one line, if I were to explain this, open interest means the number of positions which are not closed by at a given point of time. So if I were to look at end of the day data, if the open interest is showing 100, just an example, 100 means 100 contracts in a particular script which you are watching at, they are open as of the end of the day. Now, when you say open, they can be long positions, they can be short positions. So ideally, open interest goes up when a new position is created in the market. So if I'm a buyer, I have a fresh view on the market going up, I buy the stock. Contrarily, a person has a negative view on the same stock, he sells the stock because he has a negative view. Both are contract match. In that case, the open interest goes up by 1. So in such situations, whenever open interest goes up, it means new positions are being created in the market. So really, when open interest goes up, we do not know whether there is a buying intent or a selling intent, because when both match, then only your open interest will go up. So for analytics, what we do is that we compare this open interest increase on the prior day with the price move. So if the prices are going up, open interest is going up, we come to the conclusion that the buyers, because of which the open interest has gone up, are winning this battle, and sooner or later the sellers will be forced to give up, and that is why we conclude that open interest going up, price going up means it is buying. Contrary, if open interest is going up and prices are falling down, it means short bets are building. So this is the way you interpret open interest.
Please share some strategies to trade in F&O.
So we have discussed one of the best strategies for the month of July, which I covered in my slide. It is called a ratio put spread strategy. It is one strategy which I have devised considering the market conditions for the month of July. But one of the most popular strategies is where you sell calls and puts and you create an entire zone for the stock. For example, like now our view is that markets might stay in a range for 25,000, this is your bottom, 26,000, this is the upside of the range. So you sell options, you sell puts and you sell calls, and you create a bracket or a range. Now what happens if the markets were to move out of the range? Since you're selling options, you get into a situation where you might get into unlimited losses. So to protect these losses, what you do is you buy deep out of the money calls and you buy deep out of the money puts in addition to the options you sell. So worst to worst case, your game plan is set. You know in advance what the situation will be in case things don't go as you anticipated, and really in such cases you can be covered of the additional or the unexpected scenarios which you never thought of. So we always recommend an iron condor, not just naked option selling when you deal with writing options, and that's one of the best ways to approach the market. I think out of 12 months, if you religiously follow one strategy, not making a view, I think you will be right 6 out of 10 times, and the remainder 3 to 4 times when you fail, the out of the money calls or puts which you bought will save the day for you, and net you might see that on an yearly basis you might end up making the targeted return which you look for.
How to deal with derivatives in intraday business?
See, intraday business is one of the most trickiest business because we are talking about 9:15 to 3:30. So we have our limitations. We are only talking about how best we maximize the money within this time duration, which is the max time frame with which we have to operate. Now many opportunities come in the market, but what I will say that the first hour of half an hour to 45 minutes of the market is very sacred. That is the time when everyone wants to jump into the market. The HNIs, the props, the huge arbitrage traders, the algo trades, everyone is setting up their trades in the first half an hour to 45 minutes because that is the sweet spot of the market. That is where your patience is tested. That is where everyone wants the best of the trades, because if impatience is where the market is all about. So I would personally divide my day when I were to approach it for futures and options. How do I divide my day is I would like to not take a per trade in the first half an hour unless and until I have some clear breakout or some clear data points which say that yes, on the opening I'm going to jump and buy this stock. The chances of such is very less. So I would like to see and observe how the first half an hour plays out. Once I have some clarity on the move, how stocks have moved, how open interest have moved. So what you can do is, if you're trading futures and options, you have to have your heat map. What is heat map is you can go to our most of the apps of GM Financial. You can go for the Blink Pro app where you get the heat map, and that just shows up which stocks are moving up, how's the open interest playing out. So you can just kind of filter out and run your screeners, so you don't have to go for that 150, 200 stocks, but just zoom down to maybe the 10 best trades or stocks for today. And just then, once you are sure that these are my best 10 trades, you have maybe 5 buy trades, 5 sell trades, the best ones, and then you start having your pivot points in place, you draw your supports, you draw your resistance, and accordingly plan out for the day. So intraday, divide your day into the first quadrant, which is from 10 to 12. That's one part. And the second quadrant is from 1 to 3. So the last half an hour, again, you would not touch the market because that's where the volume weighted price action comes into play. Again, the closing trades create a ruckus sometimes, not the ideal playground for retail traders. So these two segments, once you have divided, Once you have your supports and resistance in place, once you have your screeners ready, then you're ready to approach the market, because it is a specialized work. It is not easy. It is about timing. You need to have the right kind of skill sets when you approach the futures and option market. And the tools is important. When what type of tools work best? And I think first, segregate the time frame. Second, use simple support resistance. Have your screeners in place, and I think that 50% of your job is done when you approach the market for futures and options. That's how I would do it for futures and options. Give me a good only put strategy. Well, only put strategy doesn't work. You have to be flexible. I understand puts make you faster money, but the right kind of conditions should be there in timing options. I can tell you one thing is that at least you can have 2-3 moving averages on your charts. The popular moving averages will be a 9-day, 12-day, and a 21-day. So in case the prices fall below these moving averages, that is the time when the market is slowly drifting down, and then using other timing tools you can decide which puts to buy. But till the short-term moving averages are not breached, at least don't go and anticipate a fall or a reversal and buy puts, because time value is a key in options, and if you are not able to capture momentum fast, I think every day of non-performance by your stock or option would lead to loss or premium depreciation. How to eliminate Jane Street and manipulation in the market? Well, Jane Street I think is already, the SEBI has tightened the screws today, so we not worry about that. Manipulations is something which really we cannot think more about it. We have to follow our rules in the market. We have some limitations. We have our structure. We have our rules. Accordingly operate, because big boys will be there. That's why the market moves. They are a part of the market, and only if they bring liquidity to the market. So I feel market is a place where every small trader to large trader to every an algo trade, everyone equally participates. Then only you have a good strong price discovery which is applicable. So you cannot eliminate them. That is to the regulators of how to stop the manipulations. But if you stick to your ground rules, I think, and discipline, I think your entire journey of trading should be fruitful.
Thank you, Akshay.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.